everybody, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute since I've seen you guys, so let's get right into the video. I'm doing an oil painting portrait, my very first one. I did one about a couple years ago and it came out awful. I mean, you gotta start somewhere, so now I have a new set of skills that I want to use and see like how I do. Stick around to the end of the video to see the top 3 things I learned while painting this portrait. To start off, I'm using Chelsea's lavender spike oil, which is similar to mineral spirits, to really thin down that first layer of paint. I started off with burnt sienna and then added some white, I think it was titanium white and ivory black, because I just wasn't getting the right values with burnt sienna alone. So I saw some recommendations to use like a charcoal stick as the basis sketch of a portrait, but it is not beginner friendly in my opinion because it just erased the whole sketch and I had to start everything over with paint, and that was pretty frustrating. A book that helped with that frustration though is Form of the Head and Neck, which I go over in my art books video, which I'll link above. It's really allowed me to understand like the shape and form of the face, even though obviously it's not the best, but I mean it helped so much. Some time has passed, so I have to use some oil to go back over the portrait. What that oil does is re-wets the paint, so I'm able to work with it better and fix some of the proportions that were messed up, reshape the head and things like that. The same way that I'm trying to make this portrait perfect and fix things and push and pull the paint, God does the same thing with us. And sometimes He uses suffering in order for us to grow stronger in faith and lean on God more. And when we are going through those trials and tribulations of suffering, we should be looking at it in a lens of joy. And I know that's definitely easier said than done. Like if you're going through such hard times, it's hard to kind of be like, oh yeah, this is awesome and this is great, but it is what God calls us to do, to depend on Him and know through Him and trust in Him in order to strengthen our faith and our need for God, because at the end of the day, that is what is important, is that relationship with God. And sometimes that's what happens. He tries us through the suffering. One thing that Paul's mission was, his own personal mission was to go back to Rome and to preach in Rome, because that's where he was from, and he wanted to go back and preach the word and the gospel to the Romans. And the way that he got there was actually through imprisonment, and he was suffering through that time, and that ended up not being how he wanted to get to Rome, but he still preached there. He still gave out his gospel even as he was in prison, and looked at it as joy, and turned something that could have been, or absolutely was, an awful situation into a way to preach the gospel, and he found joy in that. Before I start painting the face, I decide to put the background in. Heads up, it definitely does not stay, at least the color does not stay. I replaced it with a muted teal towards the end. As I put in the background, I'm making sure to make crisp edges crisp, soft edges soft, at least, trying to test it out, see where it works, where it doesn't. I definitely wish I made some edges softer, and also just colors. Skin colors was not my, best try, but I had to just put the camera away and fix it all in the end off camera, and that's where you see the change in the background. Try to fix up those skin tones, and this is the finished result. The number one lesson that I learned was that mistakes actually can make your painting better. So I started off with a background that was not the right color and then put a nice muted teal on top of it, but having that ugly background color actually added more depth when I added the teal on top of it. The second lesson is to sketch with graphite or like a pen or a colored pencil, anything that does not wash away as easily as charcoal. The final lesson is that the Loomis method does not work. Once the proportions are laid out, they're hard to change. Stephen Bauman has a channel that has a great method that solves that problem. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, made it this far, be sure to hit the like button below and subscribe to my channel. I also have all the links to all the materials that I use down below, and also a link to my Instagram, as well as some information about an upcoming website that I will have. Thank you guys for watching and making it this far.